You know, a lot of the folks on this line, I'm looking at your background here, Eric. I think a lot of you folks bleed scarlet and gray here, and you're wondering what the Bowling Green State University connection is here with the Center for Regional Development. So I just want to give you a real brief background. The Center for Regional Development was founded in 1982 at Bowling Green State University. And it's a community asset with expertise in regional economic, workforce, and community development. So we achieve our mission of enhancing the capacity of regional partners in a number of ways, including providing cutting-edge economic and demographic data analysis and visualization, serving as a neutral convener of local and regional planning processes, and through program evaluation and applied research through surveys. So we partner with local governments, economic development organizations, and nonprofits across the 29 counties that comprise our service area of in Northwest Ohio, with Logan and Union being at the southern tier of that service area. And so CRD is also a proud member of the Economic Development Administration's University Center program, where we operate a joint center with our colleagues at the Voinovich School at Ohio University. Our University Center grant provides support to the Center for Regional Development to fulfill our core programming and supporting economic and workforce development efforts throughout Northwest Ohio. And recently, we received supplemental funding through the Economic Development Administration through the CARES Act to develop economic recovery readiness snapshots for all 29 counties we serve. These snapshots are available for download on the CRD website, which I'll put that link in the chat at some point during our presentation today. You can take a look at the Logan and Union County snapshots. And just like electronics or cars, data starts to become outdated almost immediately when we post it. So these snapshots were posted in early March, and we will be updating them to reflect the first half of 2021. So I encourage you to check back. And also, while you're on our website, please explore some of our other initiatives, such as the Reimagining Rural Regions initiative, and kind of see what some of the other projects that CRD works on. Let's go ahead. We'll jump right into the survey itself. So as Jason mentioned, the survey will be available on your economic development organization's respective websites. I encourage you to download a copy for yourself, especially because some of these slides have a lot of info on it. I'm going to kind of just move through some of that quickly in this presentation style. And so you will have the ability to take the time to digest some of this information by downloading it from the website. Just to help you quick navigate this table of contents page, is clickable to help you kind of move through if there's a portion of this that you want to revisit on your own. Okay, so this slide lists some items to keep in mind when reviewing the whole survey. I'm not going to read through the whole thing, but I just want to draw out a couple of the most important and then move into the meat here. But first, it's important to note that each question has a different response rate, and those rates are noted throughout the report. So second, and very importantly, respondents were guaranteed confidentiality, and that is something that we take very seriously. So for any folks watching today that perhaps received the survey but opted not to take it or to skip some questions due to the sensitive nature of some of the questions that were asked, I hope that this final report in today's presentation gives you confidence for future surveys. And we absolutely understand that the nature of some of these questions are very confidential, and we take that responsibility very seriously. So to that end, in an effort to maintain confidentiality and also to maximize the amount of data that's included, some information was combined or redacted. In the case of wages, some of the wage information was not quite sufficient enough to form a representative sample. However, that information still does represent wages being paid out in Logan or Union counties. And so positions that do not form that representative sample are marked with an asterisk. And then in the appendix, there's a color coding system that will help you kind of understand how much weight should be given to any position. But as with any wage and benefit survey, business owners and representatives should also use nationwide industry-specific wage data and wage data provided by BLS and other government sources to kind of help supplement you as you're assessing the regional competitiveness of your wage and benefits packages. And so we'll start out with just kind of some of the general information here. And if anybody has any questions throughout this presentation, please feel free to just hop in, or hopefully we'll have some time at the end here for questions as well. So some of the key findings from just the general information. 48% of the respondents were located in Logan County, 42% were located in Union County. So great representation from both counties. Respondents self-reported industry classifications spanning 19 of the different industry classification codes. So we had a wide array of industry participation in this, which is excellent. 70% of respondents employ less than 50 individuals. Respondents had indicated expected increases in employment levels, payroll amounts, year-over-year sales, and starting wages through 2021. We'll take a look at that in a moment. And a total of 159 organizations participated in this survey. And I said response rates do vary by question, but 159 organizations is an excellent response rate out of the 905 invites that were sent out. And it really underscores the dedication that Logan and Union County businesses have to your communities. And so I really appreciate that and thank you so much. So this, again, looking at responses from Logan, Union, folks that indicated other, it was generally that they were present in either one or both of the counties, but also were present in adjoining counties not listed. And so they marked other. This goes through, again, very balanced as far as the different, industry representation. With kind of this catch-all other services being the most commonly reported industry. This here, again, looking at how many people the reporting organizations employ. As is no surprise, small businesses are the backbone of the U.S. economy. And that is also reflected in the response rate here, with 70% being of employers with less than 50 employees. Pretty even when you look at the actual or estimated gross revenues that respondents reported. It's a pretty even set here. So this question here asked respondents to think about the previous 12 months and to kind of indicate their direction of change to the following. So this is definitely capturing COVID. And the height of COVID, some of the closures and whatnot, with looking at employment levels, payroll amounts, year-over-year sales, and starting wages. However, despite the pandemic, you still see starting wages rose at 50% of respondents, with 48% indicating that they stayed the same. Same with payroll amounts rose. With 28% indicating that they stayed the same. So, it's certainly, because it spans so many industries, different folks were affected in different ways, and that is highlighted here. But it's not all the doom and gloom that we see in the nightly news. And that is definitely apparent here on the next slide, which asks folks to rate moving over for the next 12 months, how they view, that their direction of change to these same metrics. And, Ben, Jason, I just think that this looks like a lot of optimism within your private and public sector community there.
Yeah, I agree. We're feeling the same way. Hopefully our business community, you obviously are the ones that responded to this and are provided this information. But after a bumpy 2020, our economy is doing extremely well. We know unemployment's hovering around that 4% mark. You all are having a hard time finding people to come fill open positions, and things are humming along. So we're excited about where the community is heading, and we know that there's going to be increased opportunities as well for hopefully you to be bringing business, adding sales. We have businesses that are interested in our area now. Part of that kind of reshoring or onshoring here to be closer to where the manufacturing is actually taking place for some of their end products. Just a safety thing and a resiliency thing for the supply chain network. So yeah, we feel pretty excited about where things are heading.
And that's certainly reflected in the data as well. And so, I look forward to seeing that success continue to grow through Logan and Union counties. So the next section here starts to focus on the wages. This is definitely the meat of it, but also one that I'm going to move through quite quickly because it's a lot to take in at once in this type of style. But some of the key findings, there was 108 different positions that were reported. And the majority of the wage reporting was going to be in the office and industry position classifications. And you'll see that breakdown in a moment. Overtime pay was reported by the vast majority of respondents, 94%, to be at 1.5 times the base pay of their employees. And the most common type of bonus pay that was reported was through profit sharing. So moving on right into the wages here, you kind of see what I mean. It's a lot to take in when you're just taking a glance at it through a presentation. So I do invite you again to download it from your EDO websites and take a hard look through this. But this represents wages reported through in the office sector. The office was probably had the best representation because it's applicable to so many different industries. This one we kind of classified as industry wages, covering a lot of different types of manufacturers and other similar types of industries. Where you see these dash marks here, it's where there was no data that was provided, and so that was just indicated through the dash. The next page also shows industry wages, again, showing comprising a large portion of the reported positions. The next page here looks at retail and hospitality wages that were reported. These ones had a little bit of the lower response rates as indicated, but again, still good localized data worth reporting. And the same here with the restaurant wages that were reported. And I just want to draw out some people maybe looking at this thinking, boy, these are pretty low numbers. And these represent tipped employees on the waiter and waitress. Many times that's true with bartenders as well. And so that hourly rate is reflective of a tipped employee. And then looking at just some of the additional wage types, there was 15 organizations that reported paying a shift differential wage. 9 organizations reported that their shift differential amounts. One of them reported it as a percentage over base pay. So this chart represents the 8 organizations that gave a fixed amount. And as is no surprise, it does show that second shift tends to pay a little less than third shift, which is where you usually get the greatest wage increase with regards to a shift differential. Again, overtime pay is reported by the vast majority of respondents to be at 1.5 times an employee's base pay. On other types of bonus pay structures, we received 120 responses from 57 different organizations. They had a list of 9 different types of bonus pay structures to choose from. And the top 3 here are listed with profit sharing as number 1, performance-based pay as number 2, and attendance as number 3. And then with the holiday wages, there's not really a trend, but different employers pay either 1.5 or 2 times an employee's base pay for folks that need to work on a federal holiday, and about an equal amount give a compensatory time to that employee. So again, Ben and Jason, pretty interesting wage data.
Yeah, I'll chime in one thing here, and Eric or Jason, feel free to share too. I think you all have seen this, the competitive nature of our economy right now. Wages are on the rise. I mean, if you look just at some of those numbers, even on the retail side, you're looking at base starting pays that are easily north of $14 an hour. We realize that there are only so many people to go around, and you all are competing on wage, but we want to shift the conversation to somewhat to talk about how do you compete in other ways. It's not easy to continue to up your wage, but there are other ways to be attractive and to create an environment that people want to come work in and want to stay in. So I don't know, Jason or Eric, you have any other thoughts on the wage side?
Just to echo your comments, Ben, obviously it's a very competitive environment right now. And I think the next slides coming up with benefits will be a good conversation starter for the rest of the group as well.
Absolutely. And that's, kind of moving forward, jumping right into the benefits. Some of the key findings that we found in this section, so 42% of respondents do not provide health insurance to their employees. And over half of the respondents had reported not providing any dental or vision insurance. And when you broke that down by company size, companies with less than 10 employees were the most likely to not offer health benefits. We also saw that New Year's Day was the only holiday that was reported as a paid holiday off to 100% of the respondents. Overall, salaried workers of reporting organizations received more vacation, sick days, and/or total paid time off days at all stages of employment, which is not unusual at all. In the retirement area, 401ks were the most commonly reported retirement plan at just a little over 36%, with the next one at just under 31% being no retirement plan offered. And then when we're just talking about the ubiquitous other benefits that are offered, and you'll see quite a list that comes up. The most common, the top 3 that were reported was tuition reimbursement, flexible scheduling, and cell phone reimbursements. And so drilling down a little bit, again, we had mentioned that 42% of reporting organizations are not able to provide health insurance to their employees. It was almost, a little over, it was exactly 50% that reported kind of traditional methods of health insurance. So either a PPO or an HMO or some type of high deductible plan, with the vast majority of respondents reporting that a preferred provider organization or PPO being the type of insurance that they offered. So this next slide is kind of like when you sit down for HR on your first day of work and you start to get a little overwhelmed about all this information that gets tossed at you here. But this is looking at the individual. I'm going to kind of use my mouse to point here, but we're looking at the individual and family plans for the different types of health insurance plans that were discussed on the previous page. And again, I would suggest that you download it to kind of really digest this. But one really interesting takeaway that I had from this is that, you're looking at responses for preferred provider organizations at 21 to 25 different organizations, and the high deductible health plans for 13 to 19. So in other words, good representation in both. And yet when that was broken down to what the average cost for an individual PPO or health or high deductible plan is, you know, here you had it at 67.87, here is 67.62. And what I really find this reflective of is the fact that larger organizations are able to bargain for lower insurance premiums. You know, and I think that this is reflected as high deductible plans. They were offered by large organizations as well, but those are what your smaller organizations tend to be able to offer. And that was reflected here as well when you break down the type of plan provided by the size of the organization. You know, you had, it was people with 1 to 10 employees and people with 11 to 50 employees. Those organizations were the ones that aren't able to provide health insurance right now. That's not out of line with what we're seeing nationally. And, you know, I know Ben and Jason, we had talked about that, and you had some thoughts on that as well.
Yeah, the first thing we've noticed a lot, and I think Union County Chamber is the same. There are a lot of our small employers that aren't offering insurance because they're not required to, and it's a high expense. But two, they're trying to figure out what options there are. And so both of our chambers also participate in the Southern Ohio Chamber Alliance medical insurance plan. And so this is through Anthem, and it allows even sole proprietors. So even if there's just one person in your company, if you are a member of one of our chambers, you have access to this health insurance program. You know, as Ben was kind of going through some of this, the costs are pretty comparable when you're looking at, you know, a large company. They're able to kind of bargain and get a good deal on it. Well, this pools multiple small employers together in a larger plan, so that you have access to some of that same type of pricing that maybe an individual large company would have. So I'd encourage you to check that out again through our website, or contact you know, Tanya at the Union County Chamber, myself or Lydia at our chamber. Happy to share with you some information on the Southern Ohio Chamber Alliance plan. Also, both of our communities have local hospitals. I know Mary Rutan Hospital in Logan County, they do provide some on-site specific plans that can benefit individual employers. And so that's an option to go to, that you can go direct with one of your local health providers and look at working something out direct with them. So again, Jason, Eric, Tanya, if you want to add anything in there.
No, I just, to your point, Ben, I think a number of businesses are interested in starting these plans to keep their employees and their associates. And we've had some dialogue with some of our restaurants as well, but you're correct. Our Memorial Health system offers, you know, they actually offset some of the costs. There's actually free health care at a facility here in Marysville, but we also have a chamber insurance plan too that businesses can take advantage of if they want to add that to as a benefit for their associates. So again, there are resources out there, so definitely contact us if you have interest with a healthcare insurance program.
It doesn't have to be overwhelming. We do have folks within our network that can help you kind of navigate through this, whether it's our hospitals or some of our insurance brokers, our plans within the chamber. So if you're interested, want to look at this as a benefit, again, just please reach out.
That really is excellent to hear, and indicative of you know, my experience with Logan and Union County, and really being a good support system for your local businesses. I know how hard it is for folks to be able to afford that insurance. Those are really neat options to hear about. So many times with high deductible health plans, companies will also contribute to a health savings account. So of the 19 folks that responded that they do or do not make a contribution to a health savings account, it's about half and half, a little bit more skewed towards those that do. And 9 of those 19 folks listed how much they gave. That was an average of just under $1,300 for an individual, and just over $2,100 for a family. And now moving into dental plans. Again, it was about a little over half, just under 55% that are not able to provide dental insurance. However, for those that do, that it was this kind of splits down what the annual premium that they pay for an individual or for a family, and gives the averages of employer versus employee paid under those same metrics. And then this also, again, breaks down the dental insurance by the size of the organization, with, as we've discussed already, smaller businesses having more difficulty providing those insurance services. Same here with the vision insurance. And it was very close as far as the percentages of companies that, to the dental insurance, very close as far as those that provide vision insurance, with just under 44% offering vision. And again, this lists your individual and family average annual premiums that those folks who are able to provide are paying. So this looks at the different types of paid time off offered by employees, with the number one being holiday paid time off, and number two being vacation. You can kind of see through the list here. Again, New Year's Day was the only one that was offered at 100%, and but then 99% on Thanksgiving Day, 99% on Christmas Day. So there are places that are open on Christmas and Thanksgiving. So there are, of course, folks that are working, but the vast majority of reporting organizations give off pretty much a good majority of the federal holidays. So this breaks down, we're looking at average vacation days, average sick days, and average paid time off days all over the course of a year. And this is looking at hourly on the top versus salaried on the bottom in each one of these graphs. And it's split up by the number of years employed. Now, of course, every organization is a little bit different. So this is just kind of trying to fit in with some guesses of ranges. But it generally shows your salaried employees having a little bit more in the way on each one of these metrics, as is very common across the nation. So moving into the retirement plans, again, the most common reported retirement plan is going to be your traditional 401k. That was followed by organizations who are unable to offer a retirement plan, and then that was brought up in third place by pensions. And so then this looks at, of the different organizations who reported their employee and employer contributions as a percentage of an employee's wages. It shows the 401k. Again, these are averages, so it's about a 1-to-1 match in the employee versus employer contribution, with pensions being the greater contribution by employer versus employee. Some of these I know were mandated by law, just based on the industry classification of being in the public sector. When we get into other benefits, these were something that Ben had alluded to earlier. Other types of benefits that employers provide as a way to remain competitive. The number one was tuition reimbursement, the flexible scheduling, the cell phone reimbursement, and then you can kind of see it step down through the line. But there's all different types of programs that can be offered to kind of increase one's competitiveness. Jason or Ben, do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think what's interesting on this is we've done very well, I think, as an employer standpoint, with like tuition reimbursement and especially flexible scheduling, that's not necessarily tied directly to COVID. But there's a lot of benefits on here that I think we're a little surprised aren't being embraced as much as perhaps in other areas of the country. So I guess I would just ask our employers to take a look at this, because we did develop this list based off of some of the new and emerging benefit programs that are offered by employers throughout the whole country. So I would just ask that, if you consider, your talent attraction efforts, give a look at this and see if there's opportunities for you to kind of to expand your offerings perhaps a little bit on there.
Yeah, I agree. And I'm sure many of you are in the HR field. And so you're looking at this saying, well, I know we've talked through all this. I have to get creative. And, we're competing for the same folks. But when we have students that are coming out, in Logan County, we have about 60% of our high school graduates that won't go on to complete a degree. Some of them may start, but then they end up coming back and going straight into the workforce. And some of them just aren't sure what to do next. And so this top line one, this tuition reimbursement, I think scares some employers. They say, well, I don't want somebody to come. I don't want to pay them, help pay for their school, and then they get their training and they leave. That's probably one of the number one things that we hear is folks just don't stay. And I think that's become kind of a new normal. This isn't news for you all, but I think our companies that have started to embrace that and say, you know what, this is going to be part of our cycle of the workforce. We bring them in, we train them, we equip them. We hope that they stay, but we know realistically they may not. And but we want to build up that reputation as an employer that pours into our staff to help develop them and move them along. Word spreads on that, and you have that pipeline of talent that continues in. The other thing I would say on this too is that there are, and what we can talk on this a little bit, there are ways that you can help support that on-site training and allowing your workforce to be trained and upskilled while they're with you, pouring into their talents or their areas of interest. That helps with the retention piece as well. It's not just about, well, I need a body, and let's get them in there. Let's get that person in there. Let's find what they're good at. Let's find out what they're most skilled in, and let's train them and upskill them so that they can remain in that. We have programs like the State Tech Cred program, and our Ohio Means Jobs partners have some great opportunities too that we can touch on that in a couple of slides.
Those are all excellent points, guys. And, I can tell you from personal experience, something like this flexible scheduling, I have a new baby on the way, and something like that becomes maybe a little bit more important to me than just straight wages, and so everybody's different and has different considerations. And so getting into the training and talent attraction piece, lots of key findings in here. This was a really interesting chunk of data to digest and get through. So first of all, with all of this technology that we have today, word of mouth was ranked as the most effective recruitment method by reporting organizations. And it was also, as you'll see in a moment, reflected as the most common, the most commonly selected type of recruitment method. On to the next bullet, finding qualified candidates. That was noted as the greatest workforce concern, and I'm sure this is of absolutely no surprise to the folks watching today. And this was in 3 different questions. It was through a multiple choice, through a ranking, and through an open-ended question that workforce concern was number 1. An inability to compete with pay and benefits both inside and outside of the Logan and Union County area was most commonly cited as a workforce retention barrier. And then when asking folks in organizations what skills, either industry specific or soft skills, are lacking in the local first workforce, the most commonly reported one was a lack of work ethic. And so the majority of respondents, and this was an overwhelming majority, 84%, do not engage in any efforts to hire outside of the Central Ohio area. Also, a large majority, 63%, reported that they do not hire felons. A majority, though just over at 53%, reported that they do not hire minors. However, of those that do hire minors, the most likely industry to do so of the reporting organizations was out of the healthcare and social assistance industry. And then of the 38% of respondents that utilize any type of institutional partnerships, Tulsa Tech and the High Point Career Center were the most two commonly cited institutions. So diving down a little bit deeper here as far as the types of resources that employers use as a recruitment method, again, driving home word of mouth as number one. When it was ranked by the employers, so they made selections here and then ranked their selections on the next question. And it was word of mouth followed by Indeed.com, followed by Facebook, and then internal job postings and the local newspaper. So very close to how it was also selected as types of recruitment methods when they ranked that. And I know from my doing work with Ben and Jason here in Logan and Union counties that there are some new tools that are available for employers. Ben or Jason, do you want to take a moment to talk about that?
Jason, go ahead. Why don't you talk about My Local Career?
Sure, yeah. So we unveiled a new website yesterday, actually called mylocalcareer.com. And this is a partnership between Logan and Union counties to basically connect employers directly to job seekers in both of the counties. It's a free website for employers and job seekers to use. So we encourage you all to go there, register your company, and then you're able to post and upload your job opportunities right to that website. And it's very simple, very easy to do. And this will be the website that we will be pushing out throughout the entire community here in the weeks ahead. So I just want you all to give that website a look, check it out. We think it'll be a game changer here, especially as we're dealing with our very tight workforce right now. So again, just check it out. Let us know if you have any questions or comments. But again, we hope you like it and we hope you continue to use it moving forward.
Yeah, I'll just echo that, Jason. And we found that a lot of our local job seekers and our local employers, somehow they don't find each other. Maybe there's a low level awareness of the careers and the great opportunities that exist here. Maybe it's a lack of effort on our job seekers and trying to find them. But we think this tool will be a real help. And I also want to call out too on here, that Ohio Means Jobs, Logan County, Ohio Means Jobs, Union County. Those are pretty high percentages of success that people use. If you've not tied into our Ohio Means Jobs offices, they were partners in putting this survey together. I highly encourage you to reach out to your local office. They provide not only a job posting tool, which My Local Career will post on. So if you post on mylocalcareer.com, it is designed to automatically populate onto the Ohio Means Jobs site to get us further reach. But they also provide training, coaching. They have skill building. They have resources that can help with on-site customized training, dollars that can go towards this. So there are all sorts of tools that our local OMJ offices can bring to the table that can help you as an employer. I know we have a couple of folks on from our OMJ offices. I don't know if Chrissy or Cynthia from Logan County or Nedra from Union County, if anybody wanted to chime in and share some of the work that you all are able to do.
Hey, Ben, it's Cindy from Logan County, Job and Family Services and Ohio Means Jobs. Yes, thank you for that. We are here to help employers and employees help make that connection. We're really excited about the information that's being provided today. And please feel free to reach out to us at any time. We're here to help too.
Awesome. Well, and I certainly look forward to in the next wage benefit and training survey, seeing mylocalcareer.com here up on the top 5. So we're moving now into workforce concerns. So we asked respondents, when you're thinking about the local workforce, would you characterize any of these following issues as a concern for your organization? And again, the overwhelming 68%, with the next one down being at 47%, 68% of respondents noted finding qualified and appropriately skilled candidates was their number one concern. When we asked them to then rank the concerns that they selected, they very much mirror each other, with finding qualified, appropriately skilled candidates, the general labor availability, and then being able to retain employees. So these next questions were posed as open-ended questions, meaning that there was just a field box for folks to be able to fill in an answer. And so what we do then to kind of analyze that data is look at the specific answers that were given and try to create categories or buckets, that we can place each one of those responses in. And that's what you see here are the different buckets, and we created kind of a catch-all. And then we captured down here some, or in some cases all, of the comments that pertained to that bucket. So now, interestingly enough, and it is important to point out that the majority of respondents at 38% could not identify any barriers to hiring qualified employees. But as you get into those who did provide a barrier, the number one, again, is a lack of qualified candidates. And this is speaking mostly on folks that don't have a specific industry skill set. You see those, somebody's commented, those with necessary professional licensure. Somebody else mentioned skilled labor for trade. The next at 18%, so very close again, it's hard to find people. So again, it's not so much about industry specific skill sets. It's that it's hard to find general labor, period, skilled or otherwise. And some of the comments: not enough people to hire, lack of interested parties. This person specifically was this organization specifically was having issues with weekend help. So you see that cited anecdotally as well as selected in the multiple choices. That was rounded out by, again, wages being too low, trouble competing either within the region or outside of the region, and a couple of miscellaneous comments that were kind of hard to place in a bucket. So then the exact same process was used when we asked respondent organizations if they could identify any barriers with retaining employees. Again, the majority of respondents at 46% could not identify any barriers to retaining qualified employees. However, of those who did identify some, pay and benefits, at 29% of respondents, with the next one down being 5%. This was overwhelmingly the largest barrier for employee retention. And then, as you see, it was followed by lack of work ethic, competition again within the region, bringing, somebody starts at a job and then gets pulled out, or the nature of the work itself was just too difficult, with a few folks citing retention barriers that we couldn't really categorize. So moving into kind of the talent attraction and I'll still touching on the training some area. So we had asked folks if they're engaged in activities to hire from outside the Central Ohio area. This of course is just good information, but I know part of the background to asking this question is anybody looking at remote workers as a potential to fill any gaps that they're having trouble filling. Now, obviously, there's going to be positions that's not an option for, but only one organization had specifically noted in the kind of open field boxes where they can type whatever they'd like. Only one organization had noted that they hire remote workers without limitations on place. The folks that do recruit from outside the Central Ohio area, it was mostly people that either it was degree specific positions where they do nationwide recruitment, or it was somebody that uses, online message boards, or it was very industry specific, where they're reaching out to recent college graduates in that field across the state of Ohio to try to do some attraction methods. Here we asked respondents, which of the following resources do they use to meet their training needs? Coaching and mentoring was the number one. And then, of course, the computer-based and e-learning, video training, and in some cases, putting people in a classroom to help learn their craft when starting their position. So this was another open-ended question. It was when thinking about current and former employees over your past 12 months, looking at specific skills, soft or industry specific, that a respondent would characterize as lacking. So this was one where 22% of respondents noted that they didn't feel there were any skills lacking. It's a little different from the other two open-ended questions, where here you had a greater number of respondents note that work ethic was for them that would be kind of a soft skill lacking in the industry. And then, as you see, it was followed by industry specific skills, computer skills, social skills. This was mostly like ability to communicate with one another. Adaptability, I think this was probably very much reflective of COVID and the adaptability that we've all had to deal with over the past year plus, followed by very specifically accounting skills. So more in the talent and training attraction, we were looking at K-12 career tech and higher ed institutional partnerships. Again, Tulsa Tech, High Point Career Center were the most commonly reported, but 62% reported that they did not have any partnerships. Looking at organizations that allow for the employment of minors. It was the healthcare and social service industry that was the most likely to see the employment of minors, and that was mostly on a part-time basis. And then organizations, when they look at hiring felons, 37% do consider hiring felons. We asked them to expand on that a little bit more. And, they indicated that it really was mostly a case-by-case basis. It was dependent on interviewing the applicant, on the background check, and then what the background check showed. So some organizations cited that they wanted a certain length of time since that felony, but to consider hiring them. Well, others looked at the seriousness of the felony. In some cases, I think it was probably balancing it. And some organizations noted that flat out applicants that have serious violent or sexual felonious records, regardless of the length of time, were not considered for employment. This question, talking about high school internships, adding utilities to an organization, there were only 8 responses. So, that's what I mean is whenever you look at this, you want to kind of keep it in context of how many organizations responded. So in this case, 63% noted that they did not feel the internships added utility. And they cited that the student schedules were sometimes difficult to work around, that sometimes legal constraints with the type of work that they do made it difficult for them to hire a minor. And then again, that lack of work ethic was raised again. And then here we asked respondents, as part of your training program, do you ask them to obtain any certifications? You see it was about half and half as far as yes and no. Of those that do require certifications, most of them were industry specific. So I gave the example of like a food safety certificate for a restaurant, or a software certification, maybe for an accountant. The certifications that were mentioned by more than one reporting organization was certifications to drive a forklift, to become a notary public, and also in obtaining a CDL. Here you see the different types of program focus areas that are utilized, with the number one being safety training and PPE training. And you can kind of look through the different types of training that different organizations of the 93 responding organizations that they offer. And then we asked respondents, have you had any trouble accessing training resources? And thankfully, and I think this is probably a testament to our Ohio Means Jobs partners, 88% cited that they had no trouble accessing training resources. So that is excellent. But of those that did, 7 respondents had noted funding challenges. So a lot of times it was more size-based with their organization and funding. 6 respondents noted that they had some challenges identifying resources as far as space, as far as even just finding the time, as we all do, to just look through and find what different materials they can use. And then, of course, we've had several challenges with COVID-19. And so that concludes the end of this presentation and the rollout of the Wage Benefits and Training Survey. I just want to take a quick minute and thank Dr. Russell Mills, who is CRD's Senior Director, and Dr. Nicole Pfeiffer, our Associate Director. As always, thank you for your leadership and your guidance. I very much want to thank Ben Volrath, the President over at the Logan County Chamber, Jason Stanford, the Development Services Manager, and Eric Phillips, the Executive Director over at the Union County Marysville Economic Development Partnership. And then Chrissy Mendenhall, Cindy Hefner with Ohio Means Jobs, Logan County, and Nedra Bates and Stacia Rosebrook over at Ohio Means Jobs, Union County. You've all been fantastic partners. And again, once again, and most importantly, I want to thank the business communities in Logan and Union County. Your responses make this survey valuable, and we really appreciate you taking the time out of, I know what is a very busy schedule to fill this out. This is my contact information. If you have any questions about this survey as you're downloading it and kind of digesting it a little bit slower than we've done today, please feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions, or reach out to your local economic development organization. Jason or Ben can always get in touch with me as well, or they themselves can, in many cases, answer questions as well. And thanks for having me. I'm going to toss it back over to you, Jason and Ben. And of course, if you want to take a few minutes, we only have a few, but I'm always willing to take questions.
Yeah, again, Ben, just wanted to thank you and your team for all your hard work and putting this together. And this is a fantastic report. And I really do hope that the community embraces this and takes the time to study and examine the results. I think we're all definitely seeing some difficulties out there in the workforce right now, and we have to get through this together. So hopefully this report will stimulate additional programming from both of our offices. I think Union and Logan County as we work together to challenge or tackle the challenges we have out there. But again, Ben, thank you so much for putting this together. So that being said, Ben, do you have any comments or should we just ask any questions for people?
Yeah,
Hey,
any questions, we'll do that.
Yeah, and just one thing too, I want a big thank you to Bowling Green. I'm gonna say go Falcons. I know my background doesn't say that necessarily, but they appreciate all the Bowling Green does. This is a fantastic report. You guys worked really hard on this, and it's a fantastic piece of work for certain.
Thank you.
Go Falcons.
That's right. And so please, anybody jump in if you have a question, I'd be happy to answer.
Or I'd say too, at this point, if anybody has questions, feel free to email either of our offices, and we can, if we can't field them, we know where to find Ben, and he can help us dive into some of the data. All right, I think it's good on our end. Jason, you want to close us out?
Yeah, again, thanks everybody for taking the time to be with us today. If you have any questions, please let us know. We will be sending a follow-up email here shortly, hopefully by the end of the day, with a link to this report. So check out your email for that. And again, any questions, let us know. All right, appreciate it, everybody. You all have a great day, okay?
Thanks, guys. Really appreciate it. Ben, great stuff.
Thank
doing
you
a
very
wonderful
much.
job.
Yep, very good.
I'm going to send out a follow-up email to kind of our chamber list with this and the My Local Career information. Hey, Russ, good to see you.
I've been here, but I was didn't want to be another picture on the screen. So nice job, Ben.
Yeah, very much so.
Really nice job.
I think this was spot on what we really needed and wanted. So you guys knocked it out of the park. And if we can do anything to share that story or testimonial, or I don't know, whatever you all need. I know you've been doing this was this a no cost one? I think this, you guys have been amazing, but whatever we can do to support your efforts and spreading the word, just say so.
I mean, I actually may take you up on that. I mean, Ben will probably reach out for a testimonial, like a quote or like a sentence or two, but we're actually in the process of reapplying for our EDA University Center grant. And so if you guys like jointly could come up with a letter of support for that, that would be really helpful for us. Like that's, I just think given the project, and I just think it was a really good example of the kind of work we can do for communities with the support they give us. So,
yeah.
Yeah, I think it certainly is a testament to Bowling Green's, public university for the public good, and I know we're super thrilled to be a part of it. So I look forward to hearing what your private sector and what the feedback is.
We're just going to keep on. We're going to move an office down there since we're working with both you guys so much. So.
Oh my God, we would love that. Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah.
Let me know. We can make that happen. So.
What's right in the middle of Marysville and Bell Fountain? That's where we'll put it, so it's equal.
It'd be what, East Liberty, Ben?
East Liberty.
Yeah, East Liberty. Okay.
Right next to the Honda plant. That'd be good.
Yeah.
Perfect.
That's where we'll put it.
All right, guys, I gotta hop off, but thanks.
All right, see you, Ben.
All right.
All right.
Ben, I'll join you on the staff meeting in a sec. I'm gonna talk to Jason real quick.
Okay.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, hey, Jason. So, I'm glad that went pretty well. I think you did a great job.
Yeah. I have a bit of a brain fog this morning, so I'm not completely up on presenting, but yeah, so worked out.
Yeah. So we wanted to let you know that we the committee met and selected Marysville as one of our communities for the R3 initiative.
Really?
Yeah. So we we're letting everybody know. I figured since I would be seeing you on here, I would just so we're really excited. We had quite a few applications actually, but
really
just your application was great. We just think there's a lot of work and impact that could be made in Marysville. Yeah. And so given our history working with you guys, we know what all you bring to the table. So we're excited to partner with it and really get down there and get into it. And I'm actually going to be leading the project on our end. We were we had to figure out because we're doing 3 of them. So we were trying to divvy up. So I took since Ben's going to be having a little one on the way here shortly, I took the IOU to drive down as much. So,
that'll be.
And frankly, it's the one I wanted to do the most, just because everything you guys got going on. So really excited. So what I'll be doing here in the next week or two is reaching out with sort of our plan for moving forward here, and then I think the university is going to do some sort of story or press release on the communities that got selected, and so I'll coordinate with you on that, and I may put them in touch with you for like a quote or something like that.
Yeah, sure, anything.
The project, and then plan is really to start working with you to sort of identify like a steering committee, and we didn't want to come in with sort of a preconceived process for how we want to do it. So I'd like to talk to you, and we can set up a meeting next week or the week after, really to sort of go into a little more depth on how we want to do it, if sort of how we want to approach it, and sort of who we think should be on the steering committee and all that kind of stuff.
Okay, yeah, definitely. Oh, that's exciting. That's great.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Good news.
So so I'll be following up with you here next week. We're actually probably later this week,
Okay.
once I let everybody know and trying to get everything wrapped up here. But
Yeah, I
I just wanted to let you know.
No, I appreciate that. It's definitely good news, and I'm looking forward to it. You guys have been awesome through, everything so far with the survey and now this, and I really do hope we can, do more together, moving forward too. So I just wanted to thank you for that opportunity, and I think Marysville is eager to get this project started too. So.
Yeah, no, and I just think that there's we get quite a few students from, down your part of the region, and I don't know, I just think that there's a lot going on down there, and I think that we can, for some of these challenges that Ben outlined, I think some of this placemaking stuff could really move the needle. And so
Definitely.
I just think there's a whole host of things for us to take on and try to connect resources and try to get some grants and do some of that kind of work, and then get our student teams down there to work on some of it. So
Definitely.
yeah, I'm really excited.
Yeah, great. Me too. Me too.
Well, great. Well, thanks, Jason. I'll follow up with you and sort of talk about next steps.
Okay, sounds good. I appreciate it.
Hey, take care, Jason.
Hey, you too. I'll see you.
See you.